Hello and welcome to In the Court of the Wenton King. We're still doing Black Sabbath, and here they are with Master of Reality. This is where it starts to change in one sense, but in another sense this is the end of a trilogy of the heavy albums, the definitive basic Sabbath albums. You know, and when they got to the reunion and all that stuff, they generally 90% of the time just played songs from those first three albums. So it is a trilogy of sorts. But it is also a big change because they've become very, very rich and taken an awful lot of drugs. So their songs about drugs became very different indeed. And it's the last time, well not the last time, but after this point things changed lyrically as well. So this is the last time where we've got this black and white apocalyptic view of the world, and you know, which he's done brilliantly on this album.
I agree. Actually, this is the one that I'm least familiar with yet. It's probably it's probably the one I would listen to if I was going to put a Black Sabbath album on now. This is the one I'd listen to. Mm-hmm. There's a very familiar vibe to it. I think this is sort of, you can definitely hear heavy metal in this.
Yeah.
And the tracks they're not so distinctive in the sense that you probably wouldn't, there wouldn't be many people who don't listen to Black Sabbath would know these tracks. Whereas with Paranoid and Black Sabbath, there's some very, very famous things on there.
Yeah, except for one track.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Or maybe two.
Yeah. And therefore you would assume that it's not as good, but in actual fact,
this is good.
It's very good.
In many ways it's more definitive. They've refined their sound and they know what to do now, and they went in and they did the same thing, knowing what they're doing. It's, well, the big change is, of course, because of Tony Iommi's lost the ends of his fingers. Why he didn't learn to play right handed, I have no idea. It was painful to play, and apparently he got some of the softest, lightest strings that you could get, and obviously now metal is played on very light strings. It's part of the sound. But apparently those strings didn't exist at the time; they'd been made specially, and it was. But touring and everything, obviously, it was painful. So he down-tuned the strings. So this is all down-tuned to C sharp. So it's down 3 semitones, as are the next 2 albums as well. And that is obviously hugely influential as well with the very heavy stuff. I think perhaps it was hard to record because it's very low. It's very, very low, and the sound is different to the first 2 albums, and Volume 4 is the same, and because it tells recorded so low you almost can't hear it. And you turn it up so loud and it is, and obviously so Geezer's bass is even lower. Very short, it's only 30 minutes. So in that sense it's kind of perfect. In a way, those 2 maybe aren't. The title, it's something you don't think about because it's Master of Reality, isn't it? Should it be Masters of Reality? Because that would mean something.
Yeah.
Master of Reality, what does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything, does it?
No. It's nothing to do with the songs.
Unless they're referring to, because there's a little bit of a thing going on with the cough at the beginning, and it's sort of like a drug. It's sort of like metal through a sort of like a druggy haze. Mm. It feels like to me, and I wonder if they're saying that the drug is the master of reality, because it does sort of pervert your perceptions.
Yeah, maybe they are saying that. Yeah, they certainly this time don't think that drugs are bad. I mean, with coke, it seems strange, but it wasn't considered a bad thing, and it was just in the industry. Everyone was doing it, so it's not like they were being naughty people and doing all the drugs. They genuinely thought, the belief was it wasn't addictive, ridiculously. They just thought it gave you lots of energy, and it is a good album. Yes. First song,
Sweet Leaf.
The cough at the start, obviously. It's Tony Iommi. Someone gave him a toke or something ridiculous strong, and that's him coughing, and they recorded it. Dirgy. This is the dirgiest they've been so far. It is really dirgy riff. They know what they're doing here, which is so interesting, isn't it? Of course, when they came back to doing another album, they're really doing the style of this album. That's the style of Black Sabbath, is that dirty riffs.
With the high Aussie lyrics. It doesn't. Ozzy's lyrics, vocals, I don't think they've changed, but because it's so, the rest of the band is so low.
He's free.
It feels slightly different.
Yeah.
There's a slightly different edge to it.
Because Ozzy's not having to strain to sing. He's got a wider range of notes now because the guitars are so low. He can sing all of that now, and he could sing. People think Ozzy can't sing, he can't write, etc., etc. He could sing. He was a really good singer, really good for Sabbath, and I think maybe his melodies are underrated in the same way Tony Iommi's guitar playing is underrated. There's something Beatles-esque about Ozzy's melodies. He writes brilliant melodies. He can't write lyrics and he can't write music, but he can make a tune. And people underestimate that. Particularly people who've never tried to write music. They don't realise what a big deal that is.
Yeah. He's also, I think they struggled to find a replacement for him that would do the job, which is strange considering, he's not considered sort of like an ace vocalist. He's actually quite basic in what he does. But to find someone who could pull off that vibe that they were looking for, that they'd developed, I think it was quite a challenge for them.
Well, yeah, and obviously they didn't realise what that was.
Yeah.
The sad clown thing. But there is something in his voice which is so innocent and genuine. Really, whereas people talk about Mark Bolan or someone like that, how they were so honest in their singing, and of course it's all completely stylised and he knows exactly what he's doing. Ozzy doesn't really know, or well maybe he does, but it sounds like he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's just feeling it.
He's just singing.
Yeah, that's very special.
Okay, we've done track 1, haven't we?
Yeah.
Actually, in the tracks. Track 2, After Forever.
This is an interesting one. It's stylistically a bit different and it's lighter than everything else. Surprisingly, they actually played it live much later in 1999. At some point, it was credited to Tony Iommi alone, which I'm sure was a mistake because those are Geezer's lyrics. They're obviously Geezer's lyrics, and this is their pro-religion song. It's their pro-Catholic song. I think Geezer made a point of doing that because he was fed up with they're Satanists, And you'll get people even today will think, oh no, actually they are Satanists. I know the truth. In fact, they wear crosses to keep away the nutters.
Play some Black Sabbath records backwards.
Yeah, it'll be rubbish. Apparently, before they wore the crosses, someone made them the crosses because they got all these witchy people involved and they were a bit worried when they turned them down. I think they play Stonehenge. Ozzy used to wear a tap around his neck. A tap, as in a water tap.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pope on a rope was the famous line. Obviously, that you can't say that about the Pope. He's not saying the Pope is on a rope. Idiots! Listen to the lyrics! So yeah, pro-Catholic song. Interesting.
Yeah.
Not the best thing on the album.
No. Track 3.
Embryo. Everyone knows it actually as the intro to Children of the Grave. It's got that Renaissance feel, but kind of really heavy.
Yeah.
Like you go back to the Black Death or something. It's like that. It's something really harsh. 16th century combine harvesters made of wood. Wow.
Yeah, that's the word that comes to mind. It's sort of like baroque.
Yeah.
Sort of like baroque metal.
And obviously that it's not just a quiet song. I mean, later on, like Laguna Sunrise and things like this are so insipid, and it just introduces Children of the Grave perfectly. The vibe there is perfect for Children of the Grave.
Yeah.
Lost Children of the Future, etc. It's one of the definitive Sabbath moments, obviously, that they always play. And generally, it was a set opener of all the classic songs. It was the set opener. That and War Pigs.
I think this is quite a big song amongst Sabbath fans. Again, I don't think it's widely known about outside Sabbath. Is that the one you're referring to where you said one song?
Yeah, I think Children of the Grave and Sweetleaf.
Sweetleaf is the one for me that would be recognised, but Children of the Grave is sort of like a hidden gem. And I think it would be excellent live. I've obviously never seen it, but
this is one of the songs I think was good with Dio. I don't know whether people generally agree with that. It was only done as an encore. It wasn't often played with Dio, but whereas some of the other songs for me didn't work at all. Black Sabbath, some people like it, but what is this that stands before me? Just no, it's wrong. And my name is Lucifer. Please take my hand and all this. Children of the Grave worked quite well, I think. But yeah, massively influential to metal. The chords basically, the rhythm obviously. Dun 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 became dun 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 dun. So they sort of William Tellified it. But the E G, up to G, but then down to D and down to C, they're metal chords. The obvious metal chords, brilliant.
Yeah, great. Track 5.
Orchid. Gives you a little bit of breather between the songs. Very nice. Nice bit of acoustic guitar.
Nice bit of stuff. Track 6, Lord of this World.
Lord of this World. I think this is underrated. It's not recognised as the big classic like some of the other songs, but I love the quiet intro. I love the way that's quiet and then it. I like the melody. I like the rhythm. I love the way the drums follow the rhythm. It's just a great song. There's a little bit of repetition in the guitar solo that sounds a lot like NIB. And I noticed later on when he played it live, it wasn't played live a lot earlier on, but later on when they played it live, he changed the solo a bit because it was too much like an Embryo, I think. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. This album finishes pretty strong. The last 3 tracks are good. Good track.
Yes, good track. It's always this is the last Geezer song about the devil, but it's not saying yes, kids, let's join the devil. It's obviously about materialistic stuff, and you know you're in league with the devil if you like materialistic stuff. Come to the church.
Yeah,
that's what Geezer's saying because obviously he's a Catholic, and he's welcome to say that.
Track 7.
Yeah, Solitude. This is the spiritual successor, obviously, to Planet Caravan. Sometimes I prefer this to Planet Caravan. It's nowhere near as famous, and it's Tony Iommi on flute. And it is Ozzy on lyrics, not Ozzy on lyrics. It's Ozzy on vocals. People think it's Bill Ward because it's so soft.
It's so different.
But it is Ozzy, and it's really a lot quieter than Planet Caravan. So you really get the juxtaposition a lot.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
It's good. I mean the vocal. I mean you listen to the vocals, and with Planet Caravan, once you know it's Ozzy, you can actually sort of imagine him singing it. I can't with this one. Cannot imagine Ozzy singing this.
It's true, you can't. Yeah. I assume later on he wouldn't be able to sing like that. Yeah. I would imagine. Last track.
Into the Void.
Into the Void. Best thing on the album for me. This is absolutely definitive. I mean, we said War Pigs is definitive, Black Sabbath is definitive, NRB is definitive, but there's something. If you want the sound of '60s working class Birmingham. The industrial, the darkness of all the how fast technology has moved on and machinery and all that. It's in this song, and it's just brilliant. It's just fantastic. Loads of really cool changes. Great intro. Played a bit heavier than that, and it's just the way that it's just the 2 chords in E again, but it's just the way it cuts through, and the vocals are so. Brilliant, and one of Geezer's greatest moments as well.
Yeah, very good.
You can tell at this point they're self-aware. They know what they should sound like, and they're doing it.
We've done 3 of the albums now. The first 6 albums are really, really special. Into the Void is probably the strongest finish to the album of the first 3. Although you like Fairies Wear Boots.
I like Into the Void as well. I mean, they're 2 of my favourite Sabbath songs actually.
Yeah. If you're not into Sabbath, you probably haven't listened to this. That's our top tip, isn't it? Go listen to this.
Yeah, if you want to hear Black Sabbath, don't listen to Paranoid. Listen to Master of Reality. Yeah. Or listen to the whole album. Yeah, it's only half an hour. Do it. 5 eggs.
5 eggs as well.
Great stuff. Right, see you next time.
What are we going to do next time, Kev?
I'll tell you what. Let's do Supertramp. See you then.